Hey, good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. It's happy Friday, right? Had a great call today on Clubhouse, and what I wanted to talk about was client education from a seller standpoint, from a buyer standpoint. One of the agents brought up a scenario that they're going through right now where she's representing the seller, and the buyer's offer was not contingent on inspections or anything like that. So they weren't even going to do inspections. And there's the closing's a little bit delayed, longer than normal, possession's a little bit delayed. And the buyer agent came back to the listing agent and just asked if their buyer could perform an inspection just for their knowledge. Now, remember, in the contract, they did not write an inspection period in, so therefore they legally do not have the right to do one. And the question that came up was whether or not the listing agent and the seller should allow for this to happen in the transaction. And we got to talking, and one of the things that I spoke on was, at the end of the day, I look at a contract start to finish that anything can happen, everything's negotiable. I don't care what the terms are in the contract. Everything's negotiable until that deal closes. Now, I know people are going to argue with me on that. I know attorneys are going to say otherwise. But at the end of the day, if a buyer does not show up to a closing, the deal's not going to close. If a seller does not show up to a closing, the deal's not going to close. And what is either party going to do in those situations? Are they going to really get attorneys involved and sue? Maybe. Such a small fraction of a percentage is going to take that route to really go after the other party. As a seller, some of that is, now we got the fire trucks going. This is the benefit of having an office right next to the fire station. But, in a seller standpoint, right, you're going to have to sue and prove damage was done, right, from the second buyer, from the first buyer to the second buyer, right? Maybe that's a price difference in offer terms or whatever the case may be. How are you really going to argue damages, right? And the buyer, let's just say the sellers failed to perform, they're going to have to take legal action and try to force the seller to sell. So in this situation, I personally suggested that the listing agent and the seller, provide the inspection to happen, put the buyer's minds at ease so they aren't trying to figure out another way if they get, antsy or worried about purchasing the home. They just don't terminate or back out last minute. So I advise, or I would say, let's just let them have it, get it done. And, if anything happens, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But the other side of that is you can negotiate, hey, we'll allow you to do this, but now your deposit money becomes non-refundable, right? So if they did like a $5,000 earnest money deposit, hey, we'll let you do this, but this deposit money becomes non-refundable now. So there's just so many different things that you can negotiate in those ways. But communication and education, with your client regarding that and going through that situation. And what I tell clients on the listing side is, hey, even though they're writing this inspection as is, it doesn't mean anything. They can terminate. We're probably going to negotiate some big ticket items if they come up. It is what it is. So I'm educating my sellers ahead of time so they're not frustrated and upset when we get something like that. On the buy side, right, I always tell them, hey, obviously, I'm working on your behalf, but what typically begins well ends well. So if you want to lowball or try to play hardball with the seller up front, guess what's going to happen when you need something from them? They're not going to be as keen or as likely to want to work with you when you need something. So just making sure that you're communicating with your clients, educating them on the process, and ultimately our goal, and what I tell my clients, is my goal is to set up you on the path of success to get this property. And there's certain things that we'll be doing and seeing as we go through this process, and my job's here to navigate it so that way I get you to the closing table and you buy this home or you sell this home.